Sony makes the best camera sensors for smartphones, period. Last year, we got the excellent Sony IMX586 sensor, which was there on a plethora of smartphones from the budget range to actually flagships as well. This year, we have two new sensors, which is the Sony IMX689, which is a flagship 48 megapixel sensor, which is available on the OnePlus 8 Pro. And secondly, we have the Sony IMX686, which is a 64 megapixel sensor available on the much affordable Poco X2. Now, you must be wondering, why did OnePlus not use a 64 megapixel camera on its flagship OnePlus 8 Pro? Because more megapixels. Well, that's what I'm going to find out in this video. I'm Ashar from Mr. Phone, and let's get down to our comparison of the Sony IMX689 against the Sony IMX686. But before we move on, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it to get notified whenever Mr. Phone puts out an awesome new tech video. Also, we are building communities over at Telegram and Instagram. Don't forget to check links to both the platforms in the description below. Plus, additionally, if you guys want to watch this same video in Hindi as well, a card should pop up right about now, so you can go and check out in that link. The differences between the Sony IMX689 and the IMX686 are actually the physical size of the sensor and the size of the pixels. So the IMX689 has a larger 1x1.43 inch sensor compared to the 1x1.72 inch sensor on the IMX686. You also get larger pixels, which is basically a 1.12 micron pixel size on the IMX689 compared to the smaller 0.8 micron pixel size on the IMX686. Both the sensors use 4:1 pixel binning technology to create 12 megapixel images on the OnePlus 8 Pro with the 689 and 16 megapixel images on the Poco X2 with the 686. This boosts the effective pixel size to 1.6 micron on the IMX686 and 2.24 micron on the IMX689. Going by these specs, you should expect better low light sensitivity and better natural bokeh as well on the IMX689. While the higher resolution is great on the 686, what matters is the actual size of the sensor. Well, we shall test that to find it out. But before I begin, let me tell you how I've conducted the test. Since we're comparing the sensor performance only, I'm not going to test the other cameras on the OnePlus 8 Pro and the Poco X2. This is not a comparison between the two phones, but just the sensors. I'm looking for sensor details and artifacting, if any. Furthermore, for the most part, I'm going to shoot raw images and convert them to JPEG using Adobe Lightroom on both the phones. This is to ensure that software processing algorithm by OnePlus and Poco don't cloud my judgment of the sensor performance. A few sections will have stock camera comparisons. I'll explain why when we come to that. Let's start with some close range shots. I shot all the samples using Lightroom here and used just the auto correction tool for editing. In the first image, you can see the raw files from the Sony IMX689 combined with the Spectra 480 ISP offers a better control over the highlights and the shadows. Anyway, we are using Lightroom for this specific reason so that some of these issues can be fixed in post. Now moving to edited JPEGs, which is what I'll be showing you for the rest of the comparison, you won't notice too many differences between the two without pixel peeping. But at closer inspection, you will notice that the IMX686 is a whole lot crisper around the spine of the book. However, the IMX689 is crisper when you move to the right near the edge where the bestseller text is written. In the case of the IMX689, it suffers from the same problem plaguing Samsung's 108 megapixel sensors. The natural bokeh arising out of the large sensor plus the f/1.8 aperture lens tends to reduce the plane of focus. As a result, you get a lot of out of focus shots in the close-up subjects you're shooting. I really wish brands would add some sort of variable aperture solution where we can be given the option of a lens with a narrower aperture. In the current state, this issue is really irksome. I do capture more close-ups than landscape shots, so this is a big problem for me. However, if you can maintain a distance of 3 feet or more, the phone can focus the entire subject, in this case the book, with ease. And here you can see the excellent depth of field on the rear as well. Moreover, the details are crispy AF. This shows how the 689's larger sensor and more pixels offers sharper details. Now moving on to the third picture, both the sensors capture Misa's beautifully wavy coat with precision. However, when you look at the bed's elephant logo near Misa's leg, you will see that the IMX689 is just super sharp and detailed. Plus around the edges near the colorful mat, the IMX689 resolves details really well compared to the softer IMX686. Here's the thing though, the IMX686 does capture a lot of details and is almost as good as the IMX689. Moving on from close-ups to wide landscape shots, you can't point out the differences in the details of the two sensors when you zoom into the dead center of the image. But when you move to the building closer to the lens at the bottom right corner with the crisscross pattern, you will see that the IMX689 is just leagues ahead of the IMX686. In fact, if you go deeper near the white balcony railings at the bottommost corner, you will clearly see some color fringing and aberration on the IMX686 sensor. However, you will also notice similar fringing in the darker portions of the image to the bottom left on the IMX689. Notice the specks of green strewn around? Well, this is of course color aberration along with noise. But jump back to the top right corner and the IMX689 looks super crisp compared to the much softer IMX686. Essentially, you can retrieve more details from 689's more resolving sensor when you look at the whole picture. That's definitely been established. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't use Lightroom to shoot 48 megapixel and 64 megapixel samples. So I had to resort to the stock camera, which is why you see vastly different color processing, which we are not really evaluating today. At 100% crop, you will see that Xiaomi's JPEG conversion really softens a lot of details. From the center to the corners, the IMX689's 48 megapixel shot is far better than the 64 MP1 shot by the IMX686. Take a look at the bottom right corner especially, you can see that the details are too soft on the IMX686 compared to the 689, which is crisper. Now I've added a comparison of the dynamic range because I wanted to talk to you about how the camera sensor is not everything in a phone. You need to take a look at the ISP, the software algorithm, which work in tandem to create awesome high dynamic range HDR images that you see in modern day smartphones. Evidently, the OnePlus 8 Pro does multi-stack processing better than the Poco X2. The Spectra 480 ISP is more powerful than the Spectra 350 ISP. In fact, OnePlus is so confident of HDR that it has a new ultra-short HDR feature which is on by default, and I don't see any reason why you need to switch it off. From clicking the image to processing it, the phone is damn fast. Anyway, coming back to the picture, you can clearly see more details in the shadows and highlights of the OnePlus 8 Pro. Moreover, the Poco X2 shot has a lot of noise in the darker portion. So essentially, you can see the dynamic range differences between the two phones. Now, what you need to know out here is that while camera sensors are important, there are other factors that also makes for a great smartphone camera experience. And that includes the image signal processor or the ISP, and of course, the lens that is attached to the sensor itself, and most importantly, the software processing algorithm. And that is where brands like Huawei, Google, Apple and Samsung actually take a leap ahead, primarily because they've got excellent software processing algorithms with incredibly intense machine learning going on behind the whole scenes. Now, these guys spend a lot of money on research and development, and which is precisely why those flagships are expensive as well. I know I'm digressing right now, but it is important to understand from the smartphone photography perspective as to how cameras on smartphones work. Now let's make it tougher for the sensors, shall we? Shooting in incandescent lighting conditions indoors, you can see how the IMX686 struggles to control the noise around the edges of the picture. Plus, the images are super soft. Also, if you take a look at the area around the telephone, the storage unit is crisper on the IMX689 for sure compared to the IMX686. By the way, don't bother about the really warm color temperature of the Poco X2 sample because that is just my poor Lightroom editing skills. Need to hone up on that. I'm sure that someone who's a Lightroom professional can match the colors on both the OnePlus 8 Pro and the Poco X2. Finally, coming to the low light shots, I had to go back to using the stock camera because I genuinely don't know how to leverage Lightroom's tools to make good low light images, and additionally, you don't have a dedicated night mode option in the app. Anyway, we can still get a fair understanding of how the two sensors can perform in low light using the stock camera. When there is ample light, the 64 megapixel IMX686 definitely has a brighter exposure. But at closer inspection, you notice that the IMX689 is just a much cleaner image. You get extremely natural details even in far off buildings in the background, and the sky is extremely clean too. Can't say the same about the IMX 686, you can see it for yourself. With night mode on, the picture does become cleaner on the 686, but just look at how good the OnePlus 8 Pro's algorithm looks with the 689. I'd suggest that you take a closer look at the PepsiCo logo and you can see the difference for yourself. You get much more natural details and much crisper image on the IMX 689. Moving on, I decided to reduce the lights even further, and when the going gets really dark, the Sony IMX 689 just shines, no pun intended. You can see that it is a much better looking image, and that's a given. Of course, it's retrieving more light as well, and with night mode on, the difference is just night and day, again no pun intended. So yeah, the IMX 689 has better low light sensitivity and cleaner details as well. So what do you guys think? Don't you think that the IMX 689 is better than the IMX 686? Well, the simple reason for that is that the IMX 689 has a bigger sensor and larger pixels, which means that you get far crisper images, a better natural bokeh, and most importantly, better ultra low light sensitivity performance as well. And these are the things that matter. More megapixels doesn't mean better images always. So again, breaking that whole megapixel myth. Having said that, I do have a problem with the IMX 689 and bigger sensors like this is that they're attached to a very wide aperture lens, and therefore most of the times the subjects are also out of focus. Now when you're talking about the Sony IMX 686 inside the POCO X2, then obviously it is one of the best sensors for mid-range smartphones and budget smartphones. And of course, I mean, I don't think there is a better 64 megapixel camera sensor out there in the market for smartphones today. So what did you guys think of this comparison? I really want to know your comments and thoughts as well. Do head to the comment section and let's discuss it out. Until next time, this is Yashar from Mr. Phone signing off. Goodbye and Godspeed, my friends. And don't forget to subscribe to Mr. Phone.